is approval of the minutes when committee members have had a chance to review. I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Item number 1 under old business is approval of a contract with Gary Phillips Logging for tree removal and tree trimming service for the Tuscaloosa Police Department firing range. Chief, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, council. This is a contract for tree removal at a firing range. This is one we have the stump grinding that's been removed out of the contract, no cost to the city. They are taking the lumber as paid.
So
Just out of curiosity, whereabouts down here?
Down there on the old, you know where the old side range is?
Yeah.
The woods right there, we're clearing all that so we have more room to do different maneuvers and that kind of stuff.
What's the amount?
It's free. They're taking logs.
Second.
We're getting work done.
No shit.
Free is
Second.
good. Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 1 is approved. New business. Item number 2 is approval of an amendment to the professional services agreement with Capstone Engineering for the Skyland Park Drainage Improvement Project. The total is $17,390. Clint, welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. This is amendment for the Skyland Park drainage improvement. During the design phase, it was discovered that the problem was a little bit more in depth than anticipated. So we're asking for an increase in this so that the contractor, or I'm sorry, the consultant can go out and collect a little bit more topo survey data and to do a little bit more engineering on this. You see on the slides right here, it's District 7. And then this is the area. So the area in blue is what the original contract was for, to look into that area to improve the flooding, to improve the drainage in this area. And then the area in red is to increase the limits to get an idea of what's going on in this area. And we got Capstone here if there's any other specific questions.
Clint, we've got 40, he needs 45 more days to complete this, where then you'll know 100% what we're dealing with to fix it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was in there.
Questions, committee members?
So we're bumping it 17 and change up to 42?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
I don't have
Any other questions?
Motion.
second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 2 is approved. Item number 3 is authorization for the mayor to execute a statement to the Alabama Historical Association confirming that permission has been secured for the installation and maintenance of the Bryce Mine Historical Marker. Mr. Garner, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So let me also just say Mr. George Adair is here in the audience with us, and I apologize.
Miss Lisa Young.
Ms.
Lisa
Young,
So they're the ones leading this effort that got us to today. And as mentioned, we're asking for authorization to get the mayor to execute this document. Little history that I think these gentlemen they can add a little more to, but this is an old mine facility. They were scattered up and down the Black Warrior River on both the north and the south bank. The request here is to place a historical marker in honor of the event that happened, where some miners lost their lives. So this will look just like the historical markers that you see when you travel up and down the highway, the sign. This map here indicates some approximate locations. What will happen is our department will actually locate the actual roadway right-of-way. The sign needs to be placed in the public right-of-way and not on the university's property here at Manderson Landing. So then the organization will provide us with the sign, and Public Works will do the installation. And the city will then do long-term maintenance on the sign of whatever magnitude that might be.
Mike, so give me a history lesson. Or
So this is just
what is the? You finish, then I've got I want a historical question answered about this.
okay. This is just an example of what the historical marker sign will be. And then here is the, what the event is, or the sign is for. Give y'all an opportunity to read it for yourselves, but basically, a mining accident where several individuals lost their lives. If I've left anything out, please.
Gives it a good quick summary of it.
Thank you.
Was it only African Americans used in the mine?
Well, shall I?
Dr. Derrick, please.
Please,
Dr.
sir.
Dr. Derrick. Wow.
Yeah, come forward, yes.
Thank you, appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yes, the mayor has conferred an honorary doctorate, which I knew he had the power to do, being this.
That's twice today, I've actually.
And I like the paperwork, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, well, the hospital operated its own coal mine starting about 1875 and then up until this disaster in 1901, and they picked up again briefly at the end of World War I. At the turn of the century, all of the miners working there were African American. There were actually 24 men working underground on the day the disaster occurred, and it was caused by digging into one of the hospital's own abandoned mines, which was flooded with water. The coal seam they were mining is down about 80 feet below the bottom, not literally under the river, but below the elevation of the river bottom. So lots of groundwater coming in, and of course pumps kept up with it. When you abandoned a mine, you pulled the pumps, it filled up with water, they'd sink a new shaft and do the new works. Anyway, on the afternoon of 2 o'clock on February 20th, this happened, and the water came pouring in. 11 men somehow managed to get out. 13 others left behind, fate unknown, for a couple of days, and after the 2.5 days of pumping the water out, they appeared at the bottom of the ladder. And 7 of them climbed the 80-foot ladder to the surface. 3 were brought up in the cage. There's a photograph in the Tuscaloosa Public Library in the history room. It's to the left as you, all the way to the back and to the left, of these miners. I recently came upon it, had no idea it was there. It shows 7 of the 10 survivors. 3 were not in the photograph. They still have their mining lamps on. And 4 other hospital employees are there in the photo as well. There's an additional photo that actually shows the head frame of the mine and the boiler house and all that. But anyway, it's an event very few people knew about. I did a lecture a few months ago, and a lot of long-term Bryce Hospital employees, and they had no idea there was a coal mine or that any of this happened.
Where was the mine?
Well, if you're
Right there below.
on that map, according to Jeb Ezel, who worked for Allman and Associates at the time, he's nailed it down, and I've been talking with Steve Davis, the Alabama Department of Mental Health. We're pretty sure it's under the north shoulder of Jack Warner Parkway, more or less due south of the picnic shelter in the park at Manderson Landing. And there was some commentary back in the 60s when they were doing the cut for that road of finding this abandoned mine shaft. It was one of several that were sunk along the bank there.
Are those shafts still there, Mike?
Presumably covered up, filled in, but I mean,
We don't know that they're filled in, do we?
I don't know. We don't have any information on that at all.
The Kentucky had a reception Friday night in the old Bryce Hospital Rotunda.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the historian there, I don't know if it's
Steve
University.
Davis, yes.
Steve,
Yes.
it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Absolutely fascinating.
So
Never knew all that went on here.
these men went through that, and what was surprising to me as I began researching this, in the height of the Jim Crow era, this is the year the disenfranchising Constitution was passed. It was, not a good time for African Americans, that there were lawsuits brought against the hospital. The 3 men who died, their families or their wives through local lawyers. William Cochran Fitz, very prominent local attorney, former attorney general at the time. Charles Bell Verner, again, a very prominent family here. And Robinson Brown was also involved. But Fitz and Verner represented the survivors' families. They were given very nominal sums ranging from $600 to a few $100 in compensation. 4 of the survivors sued, each for $5,000. And their case went all the way to the Alabama Supreme Court. Well, it went straight from the county court to the Alabama Supreme Court, which affirmed the lower court's ruling that the hospital as a state institution could not be sued. And there was certainly a constitutional basis for that. and so they got nothing for their troubles. But I found it remarkable, not only the history, but the following litigation and the times in which it was brought. So that's it in a nutshell. And so the marker talks about the mine, the people who worked in it, the accident, and it mentions the lawsuits, as well as another death that occurred in 1918. Another employee of the hospital, in attempting to enter the old mine, was overcome by the gas and perished.
So was the mine as a source of heat, right, or whatever they used the coal for, electricity or whatever?
Well,
Was
yeah.
Was it closed? Did you say after World War One?
Yeah, that's when the last.
So it's been closed 100 years.
Yes.
It hasn't
Yes.
been reopened. I was just, as you were talking, I was looking up about the social series, and I think this is very profound information that's really needed to be disseminated.
I think things like this, it's always good for citizens to know more about their history, because I mean, I've never heard that before. I think that's kind of fascinating. So anyway, all right, we got a motion, and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Item number 3 is approved. Item number 4 is approval of a right-of-way use permit for Rush Crawford for 20 Monish Drive. Mike?
Good afternoon. So this is a request for a right-of-way use permit for an irrigation system installed by Mr. Crawford. This is it's on the north side of 13th Street. Mr. Crawford's residence is in Monish Drive, and his residence faces the private roadway in Monish Drive. But he did some work in the city right away on the south side of his property, which really improved the looks. But it's it's a placement of basically private infrastructure in the public right of way. So this is just a matter of clarity here. In the future, years from now, whatever, this is a private utility or use in the public right of way, and we just want to establish that we're going to be responsible for irrigation failures and things of that nature. So Mr. Crawford has made the request. The location here, again, the star represents his residence, and then the work is actually on the south side of that sidewalk along the north side of 13th Street.
So this is not only in my district, it's virtually in my neighborhood.
Right.
And I've been sort of a catalyst for getting the process ironed out. The end result is beautiful. I mean, it is a huge and probably expensive improvement. I couldn't be more commendatory of that. It is the process I wanted to preserve, because obviously we have others who come along, and we just need to honor that process. So I'll make the motion to approve it.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Did, Mike, y'all did
Thanks for
work
Mr.
out
Crawford for doing it.
any kind of agreements to deal with the irrigation system?
Yeah, it's in our standard
Okay.
language. Yes, sir.
Item number 5 is approval of a minor public works contract with Renovations Plus for new dumpster pad at Fire Station 11. Total is $10,890. Tim?
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon.
Thank you.
And this is also funded from the grant fund to build Station 11, for Renovation Plus, to add a dumpster that will suit the current 6-yard dumpster, and be large enough to size up to an 8-yard dumpster should we feel the need to do so in the future.
Which one is it?
Fire Station
This is
11.
the new one out by Mercedes.
Any-
Yes, sir.
any-
They've been in the
anything
station for
else?
a week at this point.
I've got some things in my district. Can we add to this? Be part of the fire station? I'm kidding. Big grant. Joke. Sorry, that was a bad joke.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
No, y'all are doing a good job, Tim. Item number 6, approval to award bid and enter into construction contract with McKelvey Mechanical for the Annex 2 chiller replacement. Total is $873,400. Tim?
Yes, sir. So this is the project that has been in design for several months now. We had a bid opening a few weeks ago, October the 8th. McKelvey was confirmed as the lowest responsive bidder. This is within funds available for the facility renewal account. We anticipate about a 1-year duration, and that is mostly for lead times. A lot of the chiller equipment has a significant lead time on arrival. The actual work on site will be just a few weeks, but around this time next year.
How many bidders
Early
we
fall.
have, Tim?
I'm sorry, sir?
How many bidders do we have?
3.
Tim, what's the usual life cycle of these chillers? How old is this chiller, remind me?
A chiller is expected to last anywhere from 20 to 30 years. This chiller that's on the roof of Annex 2 Municipal Court is right at 25, so we're right in the middle of that 20, 30 year life range. And like I said, this is a year from now, potentially, or up to a year from now, as far as when it will actually get replaced. And there's some additional things that, benefits that we're going to see happen because of this chiller. We're creating a campus, a city hall campus chiller system. We've already got one chiller that's here in Annex 1. This other chiller serves Annex 2 only. The new chiller will actually be placed here in Annex 1 and will work in tandem with the existing chiller so that if one goes down, you still maintain some level of chilled water in all facilities here.
I would assume too, this is a lot more efficient
Oh, yes, sir.
than a 20,
Absolutely.
5, 6-year-old unit. So hopefully we'll save energy costs too, I would think,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir. Definitely anticipated.
Any questions?
Motion, second.
Moving second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 6 is approved. Item number 7 is approval of an additive balancing change order with John Plott Construction for the Snow Hinton Park project. The total is $179,815.33.
Yes, sir. So through the course of the project, we identified several areas that we had additional needs. Some signage, flagpole lighting, specifically drainage areas. We've got a very flat park. We had some areas we needed some additional drainage. We needed some rock instead of pine straw. And one of the largest additions are the gates. So the gates, a lot of security upgrades. Just as a reminder, we did change order 1, which was a reductive amount of about $575,000, and so we're coming back and requesting to add back $179 for these items that were identified through the course of the project. So still looking at roughly a $400,000 savings from the original.
The net
contract.
savings is about $400,000 though, right, of what was
$400,000 from the original awarded
budget,
contract. Yes,
approved
sir.
budget.
Actually, more than that from the approved budget, $400,000 from the original awarded
Awarded
contract.
contract. And that's from value engineering and the things that you guys pledged us you would do on this project.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Working with the vendor, so that's.
So does this close it out? Let's wrap it
It
up.
does close out the project with Plott. We have a couple of things related to access control. We are still working through external to Plott, but this does close out the project with Plott. Yes, sir. Access control for the restroom and the new gates are being added.
Okay.
That shouldn't be a lot more
Big
money.
contract, we do a plot.
Yes,
With
yes,
this, that chapter's closed.
Yes, sir.
Motion.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item number 7 is approved. Item number 8 is approval of a minor public works contract with Taylor Electric for outdoor emergency phone and dedicated power battery charging station. Totals not to exceed $8,000. Tim?
Yes, sir. So, near the end of the project, Chief Smith brought up some things that they really needed to have added at the station. Location to charge batteries. We want to add a wall bank of outlets. Also, an emergency phone, something we've not done at other fire stations, but he brought up, and certainly a great idea, to have an emergency phone that is automatically programmed to call fire dispatch. So should someone arrive to the station and it be, the guys are out on a call or something. So this emergency phone will be added by these funds as well as that charging station.
Tim, what is, it says funding and account number blah, blah, blah,
Sorry.
22537, what is that?
That is the same grant funding used to build the station.
Okay.
Other questions?
Second.
Moving second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 8 is approved. Item number 9 is approval of a minor public works contract with Blue View Glass for the Gary Fitz Street and East City Hall door installations. The total is $17,506.30. Scott, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So this is for the replacement of the City Hall main east storefront. which is on 22nd and University. It has large air gaps. The swing needs to be reversed. It has single pane glass. We're putting in insulated glass to make it more efficient. That will be the first one, which is $5,860 to replace that one. The second one is Gary Fitz Street, double door storefront at Annex 1. It doesn't have a wall strip in the middle. It's a double door. It only has one operational door. So we're trying to make it have two operational doors. The new door would have a removable mull, electrified crash bar for security. And it leaks water when it rains sometimes, so we're just trying to upgrade everything in those areas.
And same question, Scott, these accounts denoted here, what are those accounts?
This is going to be the facility renewal.
Facility renewal?
Yes, sir.
So, I'm sorry, remind me, is that not facility renewal in a capital project, but the annual amount
Annual.
put in for facilities?
Yes, sir.
I don't have any other questions.
So
Second?
Moved second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 9 is approved. Item number 10 is approval of professional services contract with Sprout Social for social media software and services. The total is $13,033.11. Richard, welcome.
Good afternoon. Yes, sir. So this is just re-signing the contract with Sprout Social. Sprout Social is the platform that we use to schedule and post all of our social media. It's also one of the services that we use to really dig into the analytics to figure out when we need to be posting and promoting all different kind of things. So we've had this same software for the past 3 years. We're just keeping it going forward. And it is budgeted.
Questions?
So we're paying 13 a year,
Yes, sir.
and this account number, Rich, is your
That's my outside services on that.
outside services.
Yes, sir.
And Sprout has been doing this for 3 years.
With us, yes, sir. But the company's been around for, years. Yes, sir.
I don't have any other questions.
Any questions?
Motion.
second,
We've got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 10 is approved. Item number 11 is a resolution amending the Culver Road Sewer Project Agreement. And Council Wilson and Scott Holmes.
yes, sir, thank you, Scott.
We had discussed Mr. Wilson doing this in tandem. I don't know if you want to go first or if you want me to go first.
Yes, I'll go first and let you take it over. Since about July, we've been working with the county commission, attending meetings every Monday since July, almost on and off, and trying to fulfill our obligations to our citizens within the city to allow the county to have the sewer. And so I want to thank Scott and Mr. Tom Bobbitt for being there every Monday, even sometimes when we didn't have to be there. And I want the citizens of Tuscaloosa to know that we have done everything that we are supposed to do in this project, and Scott will give some more defining moments of what this resolution will mean for our city.
Yes, sir. Just a little bit of background for those of you who haven't met about this every week.
I was gonna ask you for that high level.
Yes, sir. You may recall, this has actually been going on for quite a bit. Back late spring, early summer, this council passed a resolution agreeing to accept the Culver Road sewer project upon its completion, subject to the typical conditions we have on a grant sewer.
Which are?
That it has to be built to city specifications. We have inspections. There are a myriad of things. This is something we've done with the county many a times. This is a county project. They're spending some of their ARP money on it. That is important because that money has to be not expended, but it has to be obligated by December. You got it.
Sorry, I need to
By
try to
December.
read your mind.
By December 31st of this year. One of the provisions in our standard agreement with them is that we have to have the deeds for all the easements in our possession in OCA before they can advertise the project for bid. The rush on the project currently has put them into a little bit of a time crunch, and what they would like to do is go ahead and advertise the project for bid, finish up some of their land work and some of the other items that need to be completed between being advertised and between the bid awarding. What we have proposed in this amendment would allow them to do that. It would still protect the city of Tuscaloosa. What we would do is change the obligation from having to have these documents in hand prior to advertising to having to have these documents in hand prior to them awarding a contract. We think that still gives us the protection we need, and it gets us out of their way to allow them to continue to do it. This project serves, I believe, about 150 residences in the county. It does pick up about 15 residences, I believe, in the city of Mr. Wilson's district.
So, Scott, how many property owners are we talking about that you've got to get these right? I mean, you've got to get these agreements with on the property.
There are, and so for just so we're clear for everyone, this is the city is not getting this
I'm saying
property.
the county's got to get
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
I'm just curious how many homeowners or property owners have to give.
They have
to
a
grant this?
handful, maybe 10ish or so left. 3. Okay.
3 left.
Yes.
So they're still finalizing that, and they're wanting to go ahead and get the process started.
And then mechanically, they get, let's assume, they've got 3, they get that, they advertise this, they get it, they whatever they do construction wise, they want to hook these folks. All of these property owners would come into the city as a sewage customer,
Yes,
right?
for a grant sewer, yes, sir.
So whatever they build and whatever they do is to city specs for us to ultimately accept it,
Yes, sir.
Right.
And we
to
have
be on our system.
we have inspection rights to the point that if they construct something and then bury it, then and we want to inspect it, they're obligated to uncover it and allow us to inspect it.
So I would think that through this process, it would have to be, there'd be a lot of hand holding with the city, or at least if the contractor's wise,
Yes, sir. And for
all of that'll go that way.
and there's been almost constant contact between both Mr. Garner and specifically Mr. Gurney and Water Sewer, looking over the project, making notes, making comments, getting revisions done, changing. I believe we had them redo some of the engineering to remove a lot of the citizens from being forced onto a low pressure system, which is more costly for the citizen, and redesigned to be more of a gravity system. I think there's now minimal people left on
That's right.
the force system.
So does where does the cost to hook up to our system come from? Is it in this project that's gonna pay for the cost of hook these people to the?
You mean a citizen's cost to
Yes,
remove
or
themselves from
the
septic?
property
to-
owners, I mean, how is that gonna be paid?
That would be up to the individual citizen.
How much is that?
It would be highly variable. And probably the best case scenario, you'd be somewhere $5,000, $7,000 or so in a worst case scenario, you may be in excess of 10.
So,
But we're not obligated as a city for any of that. I mean, we're allowing this to come in if it meets our specs, which I'm fine with that.
Yes, sir.
Because
We're
we
not
do that
obligated.
all day. We do that all day. But to hook up somebody, it's an individual responsibility.
Yes, sir. We're
to
not
hook
only
up to
not
us.
obligated, we're not authorized to do it.
It won't be on the city. It'll be on individual.
Questions?
Scott,
Bud?
so right now, we're authorizing that deviation so that they've got a little more time to get their final right-of-way usage check.
Yes.
And then they're gonna award the contract. They're gonna pay for it with ARP funds. And is this a $1 million piece of pipe or a 10 million piece?
I think it's about
100 million?
4.5 million.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so at completion, there's X number of county residents on it and some portion of X of city residents, right?
Yes, sir.
And then we're gonna buy the whole thing, right?
We
Or just the
will
part?
accept it. We won't buy it.
Okay, we will accept the whole thing, right?
Yes, sir.
And so those county residents that are on it become our water and sewer customers, right? They're
Yes,
paying for the service. Okay,
And my guess is they're all water customers at this point. They're just not sewer customers.
okay. I don't have any other
And
questions.
I will,
Good question.
I will also point out that based upon the requirements of a grant sewer, this is only for residential customers. So if a If a commercial or industrial user is located in that area, they will not be allowed to hook up, or if one were to come, they cannot hook on to the sewer system without annexing into the city of Tuscaloosa.
Any other comments you want to add, Councilman Wilson?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Mr. Bobbitt. And we will continue to meet with the county to make sure that the citizens of our district and our city are well taken care of. Thank you.
Can I ask, do the citizens understand what our obligation is?
Yes,
let
sir.
them
On-
or they understand that?
On the, and I'll say this to you, on August 19th, we had a meeting at Oakville Elementary School for those persons who live on Culver Road, 31st Street East, 32nd, 52nd Court, 57th Court, 33rd Street, Johnson Road, 56th Avenue, Sanders Ferry Road, 60th Court, 40th Street, 41st Street, and 60th Avenue.
The whole area.
The whole area, right? So we had a meeting to discuss that, so to make sure that
With Commissioner Murray.
Yes, Commissioner Murray was also present, yes, sir.
But I guess I'm just concerned about an expectation being set that can't be met on part of that. I mean, that would be my concern for the citizens. They need to understand we would love to have them as a customer, but there's a cost associated with that, right?
It is.
Okay. Any other questions? I've rambled enough.
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item number 11 is approved. Is there any other business to be brought before this committee?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gardner, could you come to the microphone, please, sir? I've got a couple of questions.
Uh-oh.
That's what my Matlock has.
Unscripted kids can be good or bad.
Could you just give 2 updates, please, Mike? One is by the golf facility, the tunnel, Kicker Road is, that's for my first question.
So I have not talked to university in the past week. So this update is going to be basically that the expectation was that they're going to be finished today. You know, the road closure was through today.
That's right.
And quite frankly, I have not touched base with them, so I cannot tell you for sure whether it's going to happen today or not, but I will get an answer for you and let you know.
Please do, because I'm getting, people are remembering the dates.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So please, if you will. And the other is, any updates on when the power company will get the lights turned on the viaduct?
Well, I do know that, and I heard this earlier today, that the power company team that had left to work on hurricane damage throughout the southeast, they're back in town.
Okay.
So again, that I do not have a date that they will, but they're available now to make that power connection for the lights on the bridge. So I would expect that within the next couple of days, and I'll get you an answer on that one as well.
Please do. And is that a big deal for? I mean,
No,
I wouldn't
sir.
think it would take long.
Right. Yeah, it wouldn't.
I appreciate answers on both of those, Michael. Thank
I'll
you
get
very
them for
much.
Any more questions?
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
You sure?
Yes, I'm positive.
I'm proud of you. Sometimes we just don't know where you're going.
No, I
That was
don't.
actually pretty good. Any other items we brought before this committee? Our next committee meeting will be next Tuesday, October 29th. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Hearing
moved.
none.
Second.